Known for her vibrant designs and creative storytelling, she's the founder of Soapbox Theory, a design firm and brand dedicated to inspire, educate, and empower, continuing to a legacy of cultural preservation and community revitalization. As the Director of Partnerships and Design at Albina Land Trust, she contributes her expertise to imagine the historical Albina district, a once thriving Black community in Portland. Please welcome Kayin.
All right, good evening, everyone. So we're going to take a moment and we're going to go into Black space. Black space is the seed of creation. It is infinite, inclusive, and undefined. And oftentimes it is completely ignored. Locally, we call it Albina, where for the majority of the 20th century, over 80% of Portland's Black population called it home. This is where Albina is, Greater Albina, as a portion of Portland, Oregon. At its center was Black joy, the blues, jazz, and community. Home-cooked foods, community gardens, kids walking to school, and aunties and uncles scolding them along the way. Streets that children could play in, watched by neighborhood elders as they sat on their porches, coffee and paper in hand. And oftentimes, if you cut up, word got home before you did. A community of care, where community members planted cherry trees in solidarity with their Japanese neighbors when they were interned. And with the flooding in Vanport, the district teemed with life. Eventually, things weren't so great. The introduction of creepy blight in an already redlined community caused much harm. There we go. A cracked window, a loose step, even a clawfoot tub, which is really expensive and rare these days, could cause a property to be condemned. And that's along with thinking about how people use their electricity, where they were living. And these were homes that were like this, that were destroyed to make way for I-5, like this. And so, over the course of less than 30 years, there we go. So in the course of 30 years, we went from a community teeming with life, homes, businesses, churches, social halls, all the things that you would call home in a community. 20 years later, Memorial Coliseum. 20 years, 30, 40, 50 years later, and we're looking at the current day. So what do you do in a community that's been displaced again and again and again and again? You keep building. You continue to dream, you continue to think about all the possibilities, and you hold fast to those community connections that kept you there in the first place. You create art to remember where you've been, what your community was doing, and lay a pathway for a return. You hold close to those stories that have been invested in you from your time as a child, held at the knee of grandparents, of community elders who always held court in a very secure fashion. These people were the culture holders. They were the ones that made sure that you knew exactly where you were supposed to be, when you were supposed to be there, how you were supposed to be dressed, who you were supposed to talk to, who you weren't supposed to talk to, all while doing it fabulously. And then you had the visionaries, the people who held culture and helped it to grow. They imagined with you. They helped you to say, you are greater than what you see in front of you. You can dream. You can be beyond the smallest thing that you've ever thought. Eventually, as community is pushed to its limits and grandma's house is threatened by gentrification, we look at the history and decide a future will be better than the past. And so we begin to plan. We begin to talk. And we begin to call in community members and ask them, what should we do? What does this vision need to look like? How should we envision the future for our community? Something that is designed for us so that we feel at home, cherished, and loved. 18 months spent in community engagement, 18 workshops, thousands of voices, over 20,000 pieces of feedback led to the Community Investment Plan for Albina Vision Trust. A rebirthed Albina, flourishing with mixed density housing, art and culture hubs, centers of innovation, education, and entrepreneurship, all built in those values expressed by community. A return to true community, a return to life and neighborhoods and community reconnected in ways that had at one time seemed impossible. And then we have Albina 1, Albina Vision Trust's first building of many to come. 94 units of affordable housing focused on making sure that our community members know that they're important, know that they're cherished, and know that they are here to stay. And above all, we make sure there's room for a little bit of celebration. We make sure that there's room for joy as we continue to grow, as we pull community members from afar and reach out anew as we develop a new zip code that is the code of success and joy and happiness as we rebuild Albina. And you guys, we can do it all together.